What's up, poker people? My name is Wes, and this is my poker vlog. Today we're going to be playing a 5-5 no-limit cash game session at Texas Card House. I'm going to buy into the game for $5,000. This game is no cap on anything, so you can buy in for whatever you want, and you can shout whatever you want. Wish me luck.
This is for entertainment only. I am not a professional poker player. I'm not trying to be a poker coach. I'm trying to share the fun of the games to play in. Enjoy the action. A quick tournament update. I just got back from Choctaw where I played the World Series Circuit main event. I ended day 1A as the chip leader and I got 70th place. We are back playing 5-5 no-limit Texas Hold'em at Texas Card House in Houston, Texas. Since we can straddle whatever we want in this game, I straddled $25 under the gun. This hand started with 2 limps for 25 and then the small blind made it 135. I have ace queen and I could 3-bet this, but this time I'm just gonna call. I assume both the limpers are gonna call. Let's see what under the gun plus 1 wants to do. He does call, and the button calls. So we're going 4 ways to a flop, $500 in the pot. I see a queen in the window. That's a pretty good flop for us. Queen 6-3 rainbow. It's a pretty dry board. The small blind checks to us, so now we have the option of betting, which we're definitely going to take. You don't want to bet too big on boards like this because there aren't very many draws. It's hard for you to actually get called unless somebody has a queen, an overpair, or a hand like pocket jacks. So we don't want to bet huge. We want to bet small and get called. And maybe we can get 2 streets of value with this hand. So I bet $200 and the small blind calls. The turn is an 8. It does put a flush draw on board, but I'm not really worried about that at this time. Small blind checks again. We definitely have the best hand. I bet $525, what I consider another smallish bet compared to the pot. When choosing your bet size, you should be picking bets that are relative to how many hands can call you. If there aren't a lot of hands that can call you, you should bet small. And if there are a ton of hands that can call you, you can bomb it. I bet $525 and the small blind folds. A nice easy start to the vlog. Okay, we got an under the gun straddle of $10. I'm gonna be in the big blind in this hand, so I'll be out of position the entire hand. Got a few limpers going around the table. I look down at pocket queens in the big blind. I'm gonna raise this up after 3 people limped. I make it 70 to go. While the other players are thinking, I want to let you know this entire session was live streamed on YouTube. You can go watch the entire 8-hour session right now if you want. I downloaded the entire stream and used some of that footage, which is with a different camera, in this vlog. The quality might not be the best, but it gives you a really good view of the table. Okay, 3 ways to the flop. The flop is 9-7-6 with 2 hearts. This really isn't the kind of board I want to c-bet with pocket queens. I decide to check. Under the gun bets 100, the button calls, and I'm definitely going to call. I do have the queen of hearts, but the turn is the 10 of clubs. This board is starting to get scary, especially for a pre-flop raiser against 2 limpers. I check and it checks through. Now the river's the ace of diamonds. This should help my range way better than my opponents who just limped in and also bet and called on a 9-high flop. It checks over to the button and he bets 125 and I'm just not believing this. I actually decided to snap call to maybe give the under the gun player the impression that I rivered an ace. Maybe he can fold what he thinks is the worst ace. So I call and the under the gun player tanked for a while and eventually called with ace 5 of hearts. And I was right though, the button had nothing. During the live stream, the viewers wanted me to put $100 on the button, so here I am, and I get 10-7 suited. With 2 limpers, I'm just gonna raise it up here, sort of a semi-bluff. I'm sure one of these guys will call, I'll have to c-bet the flop, then I'll take it down. But they end up both calling, so now we're going 3 ways to a flop with 10-7 suited. But at least I'm in position, maybe we can flop something. I flop a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw, but that's about it. They check to me, I'm gonna make a little bet here, see if I can get them to fold, or set up a big bet on the turn. So I bet 300, and both players call. The turn is the 3rd diamond, If they check to me, I guess I'm gonna bet one more time and see what happens. They do check. It's time to go a little bit bigger, a more sizable bet. I bet 700, praying for a fold, and both players fold. Let's go. And I show them the bad news. We're gonna watch this hand from the sidelines. The hand starts out four-handed, going to the flop. Flop is King 9-7 rainbow. First player checks, second player checks. Checks all the way to the button. He makes it $40 to go. Gets a fold, and he gets a caller, and they're gonna go heads up to the turn. The turn is the deuce of hearts, which makes a heart flush draw available. The first player checks and the button bets 80. Under the gun calls 80. The river is the 5 of hearts. It's a pretty ragged board. There's really no connectivity other than the backdoor hearts. The out of position player checks and the button fires again. After just checking his option pre-flop, I would assume the button just has some sort of king, maybe even a hand like King 9 for 2 pair. The out of position player check raises to $800. It's over to the button to decide what to do. Thinks for a while before making it $1,500. He only left $500 behind. Under the gun shoves and the button snap calls. Under the gun shows ace 9 for the nut flush. And the button had King 6 of hearts for the second nut flush. Holy cow. A brutal $2,000 cooler.
You know what? I'm gonna be nice. 4 players. Guys, I would normally raise here.
This hand starts with me being a nice guy. I check my straddle option and instantly flop 2 pair. I have top 2 pair on a Queen 10-6 board with a 10-6 of clubs. I have Queen 10 of spades. I have no backdoors. I decide to bet 50 bucks and I get called. Turn is a 9 of diamonds. This board is starting to get a little straighty, but I think I can still value bet. The small blind checks to me, and I bet 125. The board now has 2 flush draws and many straight draws. I really think this guy can call me with the worst hand. Small blind calls 125. The river is the 7 of hearts, putting a 4-card straight on the board. Any 8 makes a straight. The small blind checks, and the question on this river is, can we bet for value? Pause the video right now and leave a comment below. Bet Queen 10 or check Queen 10. We're gonna find out if you're right because I'm gonna bet this river. I bet $240 on the river with top 2 pair on a 4-card straight board. It's over to the small blind and he's in the tank. While he's thinking about what to do, go ahead and hit that like button. I really appreciate it. The small blind calls and I show my hand, and his cards quickly hit the muck. If you said bet, you were right. Check out my website, razorclothing.com, for poker t-shirts, hats, and hoodies. Everybody's second favorite hand, pocket aces in the big blind. We've got a bunch of limpers in this hand before it gets to me. I make it 50 to go. I expect pretty much all these guys to call. That's just the kind of game this is. I could make it 75 and maybe get some folds, but it just doesn't seem necessary. If they're limping in, their hands aren't that strong. I'm not really worried about them. Of course, they can always flop something, but we have a huge advantage. The flop is 10-3 deuce with 2 spades. I do have the ace of spades, but I'm gonna c-bet this board no matter what. I c-bet $100. We get a call on my left, a couple folds, and now we're heads up to the turn. The turn is a jack of clubs. It really only improves jack 10, which is a pretty common holding, but I'm still gonna c-bet this turn card. He could have called the flop with any number of flush draws that have now turned a straight draw. I bet 3-10 on this turn card. If he called the flop, I think he's gonna call this turn. He either has a flush draw or a 10, and it can actually look like I have ace king and just be firing again on the turn, so he might just call with 1 pair. The river is the deuce of hearts, which is actually a really good card for me. Anytime you have a big overpair and the bottom card pairs, you might have just sucked out on 2 pair. I'm definitely betting this river. I can now beat Jack 10. I'm really only worried about him having some random deuce or maybe a flop set of 3s. I bet $525 and it's over to the under the gun player to decide what to do. He calls and I show. It looks like I have the best hand. Yep, he pays me off. 3 streets of value against a limped hand. With no limit on the straddles, we have a $25 under the gun straddle in this hand. A player raises to $80 and I look down at Queen Jack suited and I decide to call. Playing in a game like this, you really have to know that if you're gonna call, you're gonna go to the flop sometimes 5 or 6 ways. In this hand, we end up going 3 ways to the flop and I have Queen Jack of spades. The flop is Jack 10-9 with the Jack 10 of diamonds. I flop top pair and an open-ender, but this is kind of a scary board. But when the 2 players check to me, I think I need to bet this. I might have the best hand, I could always turn a straight, and I need to charge them to draw if they're drawing to diamonds or some other straight. And I get check raised to $455. I guess that's one of the risks of betting this flop, but I still think I have to bet this flop, and I think I have to call this check raise. I have no idea if this player might have ace-5 of diamonds, or maybe he has 9-8 offsuit. I'm going to go ahead and make this call, and I'm going to see a turn. The turn is a 10 of clubs. My opponent instantly checks, and I'm never betting this turn card, but I don't feel like I should act right away. I'm just gonna sit here and act like I'm thinking about a few things and then check. The river's a 10 of hearts, so it goes running 10s to give me 10s full of jacks, which should be the best hand. In fact, a lot of the time I think I'm just chopping with this guy, but he checked to me, so I'm gonna bet. I decide to bet $600. And he almost instantly shoves all in for $3,500. How did this hand get out of control like this? Okay, let's think about this. There's no straight flush. He's very unlikely to have a 10 since he check raised. I think I need to call. He probably just has a jack and is trying to get me off of a chop. I double check my whole cards before calling, and as soon as I call, he says good call. And he was bluffing for $3,500. I just struck oil! Alright, I've got a $50 button straddle. We got 1 caller from the under the gun player, and a player makes it 200 to go. I peek at my cards and I have pocket aces on the button with the raise to 200 in front of me? Alrighty, well I'm gonna make it more. I raised to $550. I assume under the gun is just gonna fold and get out of the way, and let's see what the other player wants to do. He rips it in for just under $1,000. You can't find a better spot than this. I always just run it once, so we're gonna see 5 cards. Flopping an ace is gonna be pretty good for me. Spades. Hopefully he doesn't have any spades. Any spade wins now. Nope, just a red ace king, and I take down $1,000. God mode activated. Just a quick note, I will be traveling to Austin on January the 25th to play on a live stream at the Texas Card House in Austin. I'll be taking my game, including a no cap buy-in, no cap on the straddles, and even some of my crazy players to Austin for an RFID whole cards included live stream. If you want to come hang out, or if you want to watch the live stream, follow me on Twitter for more details. I'm on the button again with another $50 straddle. This time we're gonna get quite a few limpers limping in. I'm not really sure why these guys don't just raise, but you should really be raising with any hand that you want to come into a pot with, but they just keep limping and limping and limping. So it limps around to me and I look down at pocket aces again. Oh my God, this is the exact same two suits on the button again. I'm gonna raise it up, I make it 250. I could have made it bigger in this spot, 350 to even 400 if I wanted to really punish him, but I decided this time to go with a small raise and just see what happens. If we go 5 ways to the flop, I'll be okay. The number of players that see this flop, as well as the texture of the board, will determine how quickly I play my aces. If I just flop an ace again, I'll be pretty confident, but that's pretty unlikely. We've got one call of the 250 already. We've got another caller and another caller. This is kind of what I expected. We're going 4 ways to the flop. Let's flop an ace. No, that's not an ace. That's all hearts. The flop is 10, 5, 6, all hearts. I don't have any hearts in my hand. It checks to me and I don't see any reason to c-bet this board. I'm just gonna check behind. Let's turn. Well, that's an ace all right. The turn is the ace of hearts, which really helps me in almost no way at all, other than the fact that, of course, we can pair the board on the... Oh, I have a flush. That's great. A flush. There are 5 hearts on this board, and I have a set of aces. This hand has gone check, 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 and now the big blind is gonna bet $700. Actually, he's the most likely player to have a big heart in his hand. He could have been planning to check raise. I really want to call this bet, but in reality, I would just be chopping if he were bluffing. So the question here is really, A, does this guy have it? And then B, would he call a shove? He bet $700 and he had about $2,000 to $2,500 behind. If I ended up shoving and I was wrong, man, that would hurt. But it's possible he's just playing the board and trying to get everybody off of a chop. In the end, I just decided it wasn't worth it, and I fold. In this hand, we're gonna get a little loosey-goosey with 10-7 suited. Again, there's a $20 under the gun straddle, and I'm gonna open to $75. If you guys think this is a little too loose, you're probably right. So I make it 75, we get a call in the cutoff. It's over to the big blind and he hasn't mucked right away, which makes me think he's gonna play this hand. He raises to 225. Now we get punished. But guess what? I'm not folding. I go ahead and make the call. I wanna see a flop. I'm actually gonna be in position against this 3-better. It's not a bad deal. The cutoff folds, we're heads up. Flop 'em dead, dealer. The flop is 9-7-6 with 2 hearts, none of my suit. So I have middle pair and a gut shot. The big blind checks to me, and as the 3-better on this board, it actually makes a lot of sense that he's gonna check this flop, even with all his overpairs. With a pair and a gut shot, we actually have a pretty good chance to win this hand. If he just has ace king of spades, I think we can take this down right here. So I bet 225, and the big blind looks like he doesn't want to fold. He decides to call. Let's see a turn. Ooh, a 10 of hearts. So we improved to 2 pair, but now there are 3 hearts on board. I would assume if this guy had, let's say, ace king of hearts or ace queen of hearts, he would have just bet this flop because he would not have been concerned about being raised. So I don't think he has a flush very often. I think we have the best hand here a ton of the time. I think he would have c-bet pocket 10s on this flop, so I'm not worried about him turning a set, and he definitely didn't flop a set. He is tanking though. He decides to go ahead and call $400. We're off to a river. The river is the 4 of diamonds, which basically does nothing for either of us. I'm gonna make the diamonds blue on this board just so you can see what's going on here. We still just have to worry about hearts, which I don't think this guy has. I have one of the better hands I'm gonna have in this spot. Of course, flushes and straights would be way stronger, but I have almost top 2 pair. If I had a hand like 4-6 or 6-7, maybe I should check this river, but I'm gonna go ahead and bet. I decided to bet a little bit small, $625, basically targeting something like pocket queens with the queen of hearts. He decides to fold and I take it down. Moving on to this hand, I'm gonna activate God mode and give myself pocket aces again. There's a $20 under the gun straddle and I make it 60 to go. The game's a little bit more short-handed than it was previously. We're probably 6 or 7 handed at this point. It's gonna fold around to the under the gun straddle and he re-raises to $220. I double check my cards and I'm about to go to war. This guy is about 6K deep and I'm actually about 10K deep at this point. I'm gonna make a re-raise here and this could get really interesting. I decide to make it 660 to go because I actually believe he has a hand. I don't think he's gonna re-raise me out of position without a big hand. He decides to call and we're going to a flop. The flop is 8-6-3 with 2 hearts. This flop means nothing to nobody. He checks and I'm gonna c-bet. It's pretty standard to down bet in these spots, and I think this is a good board to do it on. I make it 400 to go. We basically want him to continue with any ace-king or ace-queen and any of his overpairs. Oh, the turn is an ace. Making sets of aces is so easy. He checks, which I expect him to do. There's now a second flush draw, which I'll show in blue, but it doesn't really affect this hand. It's possible that sometimes he is gonna have a non-standard re-raising hand. So I wanna go ahead and start betting a little bit bigger here, and I make it 700 to go, and he snap folds. For this hand, we're right back into God mode. I've got queens in the big blind. There's a $10 button straddle, which means the small blind acts first, and then it's on to me. So I make it $40 to go. We're gonna be out of position during this hand, so it's gonna be a little bit tougher to play, but we have queens and we're definitely going to battle. Under the gun +1 calls my $40 raise, and it's over to the cutoff. And the player in the cutoff makes it 150. Well, guess what? He's gonna get 4-bet. I double check my cards before I do anything, but it's actually stuck on the button. He seems to be making a decision. Is this guy really gonna 4-bet him and I'm gonna have to make a big 5-bet? The button's tanking, but it looks like he's just gonna call. It's around to me and I'm definitely not just calling. I don't wanna play this hand 3-handed, out of position, plus I probably have the best hand. I definitely can beat the button. You never know with the cutoff re-raising, but I'm gonna put more money in this pot. Leave a comment below on what you think the sizing should be on this 4-bet. I'm going big. I make it 700 to go. Out of position, you've already got some money in the pot with players showing you they're very interested in their hands. Let's go. After making it 700, the cutoff really has a decision to make here. If he just calls, the pot's gonna be anywhere from 1,400 to 2,100, depending on what the button does. He'll have about $2,000 left in his stack if he just calls, and it's gonna make it pretty awkward to continue when you just have a pot-sized bet behind. This bet sizing really puts him in a tough spot where $400 would have been really easy to call. The cutoff is all in for $2,700. The button snap folds and I call. He immediately says, nice hand. I'm not sure if he just knows that I'm running hot or if he got caught in some weird bluff. It's kind of a scary board if he was bluffing. The board runs out a bunch of low cards. I show my hand, and he says you're good. Cars are in the muck, and we take it down. $2,700 my way. Which leaves the question, do you believe in God mode? And this is my stack at the end of the night. I bought in for $5K and I cashed out $13.6K for an over $8,000 profit. If you like this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe. See you guys next time.
God mode.